What's up? It's Miguel. And what I want to do today is I want to go over the concept of trying to look cool and the difference between just enjoying life and just joking off the riff and just socializing and basically enjoying everything in your surroundings instead of trying to constantly figure out the perfect thing to say or the perfect way to interact with other people or the perfect social media picture to post. Now, the reason I actually came to this epiphany to where I basically just figured out that trying to look cool is basically overrated and it's essentially just a huge waste of time was when I went on a trip to California. And I constantly remember taking a lot of pictures and trying to get the perfect picture, right? I was trying to make it look as cool as possible, trying to look as aesthetic as I possibly could, trying to look at the different poses, and I was just posting everything on social media, trying to like get some engagement. And as vain as it sounds, I feel like we all stumble onto this habit. Like we're all trying to look cool. We're all looking for a certain level of acceptance from everybody else, and it's natural because we want to be accepted into the tribe. It's in our nature. But the thing is that what I noticed is that despite all the hours that I invested into trying to look cool, into actually getting the perfect picture, into getting that perfect moment, it was actually all trumped by a simple video where I just felt a little bit zany. I just wanted to be, I just wanted to be a little bit silly, and I told my partner to record me like in the beach, and she was just basically gonna take like a little panoramic view where she was slowly recording everything, just technically like trying to take an aesthetic video, and I was just twerking, like literally, like I was just dancing, trying to be funny. And what I saw is that a lot of people enjoyed that video a lot more. It created a lot more conversations. It got a lot more engagement than all the other pictures combined. Now, why is that? I feel like in our nature, we all want to laugh. We all want to be entertained to some extent. And while a lot of these pictures, they were aesthetic and they were entertaining to a certain extent, I don't feel like it brought as much value as me trying to get a little chuckle out of people. So the thing is that if we're constantly trying to look cool, we're putting this social pressure on ourselves. And the reason I'm entertaining this concept is because how much more easier would it be if you weren't just constantly trying to think of the perfect thing to say, on trying to look as confident as possible and trying to look cool? How much weight would that release off of you, and how much more loose would you be acting? How much more of that would you actually start to, instead of just investing on constantly focusing on, okay, well, I need to stand up straight, I need to constantly fix my shoulders, I need to make sure that my voice is projecting the way that it should. And what if you can invest that energy into actually just bringing some value to the other person and just trying to make them laugh constantly? We've all been in that situation before, or at least most people that I know have, where they just constantly go into this flow state and they just start joke after joke after joke after joke. And what I've seen time and time again is that those people are usually just like magnets. People are more gravitated to trying to interact with those type of people. We all know the class clowns. We all know that comedians, we all think that they're on a different wavelength. But the reality is that we all have that innate nature to where we could be like the little jester. Now, I'm not saying to actually be a clown and constantly be making a fool of yourself, but what I'm trying to present here, or what I'm trying to entertain here, is to just simply start not associating with trying to look as cool as possible, with not trying to like fit the stigma that you need to be looking like a male model at all times, or a female model if you're a female watching this. But just simply actually start being a little bit more loose, being a little bit more yourself. And I feel like that authenticity, where you actually start to release that and you actually start to focus more on just simply enjoying the moment and being present, it actually does a lot more for the interaction, and it does a lot more for your overall vibe than just simply looking at the right type of clothes that you need to wear. I mean, you need to look presentable to some extent. I'm not saying to keep on wearing like a pirate hat or just start like wearing random stuff. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying that is that you need to learn how to balance on looking presentable and finally just simply letting yourself loose. And I've seen this time and time again. I believe it was like some Thailand boxers where they actually, when they start sparring, they actually think of it in a way that they're playing with the sparring partner in the very beginning, because you actually tend to learn a lot quicker and you're a lot sharper if you think of the actual sparring session as a game. So what I'm trying to entertain with this video and what I'm trying to get at is to simply start analyzing and auditing yourself and start focusing on realizing if you're either taking yourself too seriously, if you're trying to think too much, if you're too much in your head, just simply start like spreading random stuff. Don't scream it out. Don't be cartoonish. Don't. I'm not saying to like be crazy or anything. Like you don't want to be like the crackhead at the street corner. What I'm saying is that if you have nothing to say, just start saying something random. Just start speaking about the weather. Start speaking about some movie you saw, even if it's not part of the conversation. But just simply actually get yourself into the habit of joking around, of just simply being spontaneous to a certain extent. You're gonna be able to learn how to calibrate this in the long run. You're gonna be able to see how it actually affects your interactions, and you're gonna begin to actually sense the vibe of the other person. You're gonna begin to see like, you know what, maybe that person's a little bit too uptight, so I may need to take it a little bit easier with them. But you're gonna learn a lot more if you're focusing on just simply trying to give value to the other person overall. And I know it's kind of like a huge segue, but just stick with me on this one. What I saw is comedy sells, being funny sells. And one example that I saw that is really a really clear indication of this is this artist Oliver Tree. Now, me personally, from what I know him, is a lot of vines. He used to wear, if you're not familiar with Oliver Tree, he got very viral with a couple of songs like Life Goes On and Smile. But what I noticed is that he didn't blow up by his music himself. And I believe I was listening to one of his podcasts, and he explained that he was actually trying to take music seriously for like around 10 years. And it wasn't until he actually started not taking himself so serious as an artist and just began to just produce vines where he was just overly exaggerated and overly just trying to be funny. He was on a scooter, he was wearing his mom's ski jacket, he was wearing a bowl cut, he was wearing those sunglasses that look a little bit too small, and he became a whole character. And everybody knows him by that character till this day. If you take a look at his catalog, it's almost the same identical character that time and time again. The over exaggerated features like the hats, the hair. There's a bunch of stuff that he does that he's constantly trying to get your attention by trying to be a little bit outrageous and a little bit funny. And it wasn't until those vines started hitting where he became viral over just joking and just taking the character to an outrageous level that he actually was able to transition that attention and invest it into his music. And I strongly believe that maybe he would have made it. He would have made it if he kept on taking music seriously too. But I don't think he would have been as successful if he was able to hone in that comedic energy and invest it into his musical energy. So what that means for you is, yes, start trying to figure out ways on how to implement humor into every aspect of your life. Now, of course, if you're a doctor, I'm not saying to make a joke out of like a lot of these things. What I mean is, just try to be a little bit more loose overall. And yeah, that's basically like my spew for the day. And I'll see you guys on the next one.